Welcome to Morning Tea with MTC. My name's Petra Kalive. I'm the Associate Director at Melbourne Theatre Company, and today I'm going to be answering some questions sent in by teachers and students about my directing process and practice. Well, I started directing because I had just graduated from acting school and I was working for the Youth Theatre Company in South Yarra in Melbourne, St Martin's, as a tutor teaching young people acting. The then artistic director asked me to assistant direct a show, a musical, a new Australian musical, and I was hooked. I didn't ever think that directing would be something that I'd be good at, and I absolutely loved it. I think you need to be a good communicator. I think you need to be an exceptional problem solver. And I think you need to be a lover of storytelling in all its forms. One of my earliest memories of seeing theatre was seeing a kids' show with my brother and my sister. My mum had taken us. And that moment of the curtain going up and everyone in that theatre collectively taking in a breath in together brought tears to my eyes, and I kind of felt this buzz in the air, this excitement, and that feeling's never gone away, and that's what keeps bringing me back, that ability to share in a collective experience. Scripts have theatrical potential when they live in images in my brain. When I'm reading a script and I'm just full of images and ways that this could be realised in front of an audience, I immediately know it's going to work, or I'm immediately excited to direct it. The other thing is that sometimes it feels like, for me, when I'm reading a play, that I kind of hop on a train and I'm going along for the ride. And it takes you all the way to the end and you don't want to get off. When I read a play like that, I know that it's going to work. There's a lot that happens before we hit the rehearsal room. I meet with designers, work with them to come up with the design, and that takes quite a few months. So there's preliminary kind of conceptual conversations that happen about what it might look like and what's important and what's essential to help the stage action. And then there's a model or a drawing that's created, which we often show the theatre company that we're working with, or the producing house that we're working with, to say, is this possible? Can this be realised? Is this too expensive? Will this work? And then once we've kind of got the thumbs up from that kind of initial concept discussion, then we kind of start to fill in all the other details, like the props, or what colours it's going to have, or how many costume changes there are going to be, and what the costumes are going to look like. The lighting designer is, of course, incredibly important through those conversations as well. I'm also then having conversations with my sound designer. What is the sonic world of this play? How are we going to help the audience manoeuvre through transitions? I then have to work on casting the show and audition lots of people. Then there's all these kind of pre-production things that need to be addressed. So lots of conversations with stage managers and the props department. And the final thing that I do is come up with a really detailed schedule for rehearsals. Okay, so if you're thinking about all the things that I just talked about that we do before we get into the rehearsal room, that's probably at least 6 months part-time preparation. If it's a new work, I'm sometimes working for 12 to 18 months before I get into the rehearsal room, sometimes longer, because I'm also working with a writer and developing the work with them. At MTC, a rehearsal period is usually around 4 weeks full-time. All up, you're looking at a minimum of about 7 months. We get into the room and usually there's a bit of chit-chat. People get their coffees just like you would in a regular office or at school. I then like to check in about what thoughts people have had overnight or what epiphanies people have had, and then we'll read the scene that we're going to work on that day. We'll get it up on its feet, find out how the play lives and breathes with actors in the space. Often I'll bring in a movement director as well, or there might be a dance, so we might rehearse a dance, or there might be a song. I'll basically have broken up the day into chunks, and we'll do some scene work, we'll do some movement work, we might do some singing, and then we'll put it all together. And I like to leave the day with everyone having a sense of what we've achieved, so we'll put together what we've rehearsed that day and see where we're at. We have a quick debrief at the end of the day, seeing how everyone is and what's sitting with people. And then that's it. People go home and learn lines or go home and ruminate on what the day has been. And then we're back to it the next day. I have an online diary. I also, when I'm in the rehearsal room, I have my plan handwritten. And that changes day to day, and that's why it's handwritten, so I can cross things out and rejig things and move things around with arrows and things like that. That's how I prioritise and plan, I guess, my rehearsals. When it comes to the design and the other elements of the show, I use a combination of Trello and Pinterest to share ideas and to organise my thoughts. And they're really good ways of communicating with cast and creatives as well, beyond just email. Making changes very late just before we open, really, in those final few previews. And that's consistently a challenge because everyone starts to get nervous. Actors have learnt the lines and they've learnt the blocking and they want to practice that and get good at it. And writers get really nervous about making changes without the ability to be able to fix them. So I think that that's probably the biggest challenge in navigating that and ushering people along and making sure that you've got everybody's buy-in as you kind of slowly chip away and make those changes is the biggest challenge. Be kind to yourself and other people in the room. Work hard and listen to the whispers. It's really easy to ignore that little voice that whispers to you in the middle of rehearsal or at night or stops you from sleeping. It's very easy to ignore, but from my perspective, she's always right and she's very clever, and I have ignored her way too much. I would highly recommend that you get involved with your local theatre group, that you do shows in whatever way you can, that you talk to your local drama teacher or your local amateur theatre or community theatre artistic directors or teachers about ways to connect in. I think they were fantastic questions, thank you. The next episode of Morning Tea with MTC is coming soon. Go to mtc.com.au/morningtea to submit your next questions for the next guest. Thank you very much.